It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is CarEdge Live for Wednesday, June 4th, with your hosts, me, Ray, and, well, that Arizona Cardinals supporting son of mine, Zach. How are you today, handsome?
Doing fantastic. Happy Wednesday, June 4th. We're 1 month away from July 4th, so that's quite exciting. Dad, big story this morning. We're going to talk about Toyota and Ford and their sales skyrocketing in the month of May. Maybe you and I got it all wrong. We're also going to spend some time this morning talking about our friends over at DeleteMe. We appreciate their continued sponsorship of CarEdge Live. But first things first,
yes,
CarEdge.com. We're 5.5 years in. It's crazy, man. In December, it'll be 6 years of building this business, supporting our community. If you're unfamiliar with what we do, go to CarEdge.com to learn more and check it out. And I do want to share a little bit of an update from yesterday. We obviously spent a lot of time talking about a terrible experience that one of our community members had leasing a vehicle. I'll just put up on the screen. I shared this over on X this morning. So if you get a chance, please go retweet this, share this, do all of that over on X. Let's try and get more visibility on it. And Dad, I did have a conversation with Adrian yesterday.
Yes.
She's in touch with various lawyers. The dealership has tried to get into touch with her. I told her best course of action right now, get in touch with a lawyer, see what they can do to help you out. And obviously here at CarEdge, we would love to know what the resolution is when it comes about. So stay tuned, folks. We'll give you more updates as it comes in.
Well, hopefully, the dealership decides to do the right thing. We can have a positive outcome from this. I wouldn't bet on it, but it's a hope. We can all hope, can't we?
I mean, I sent this to you this morning, Dad. I found that the dealership actually has a YouTube channel, and the most recent episode of their podcast with the sales manager of Mark Kia of Scottsdale and the CEO of the whole auto group is called "How to Know If You're Screwed at a Car Dealership."
Yeah, I didn't find it particularly enlightening.
No, I mean, I don't encourage you to necessarily go watch the content. I don't find it to be particularly valuable. That being said, I do find the irony here to be...
It was very ironic. What was even more ironic is I believe I was the 13th viewer. So...
Anyway, folks, all right, we'll follow up with that story from yesterday's show. And if you didn't see it over on the main channel, go check it out over there. Now, let's talk a little bit about the big story from the month of May, which is a surprisingly robust number of sales, particularly for Toyota and Ford. Honda also grew, Hyundai grew, Kia grew, Volvo grew, Subaru was the brand, and Mazda as well that struggled. Yeah. Ford sales were actually up 16%, Dad. That is skyrocketing to have your sales go up 16%.
And I think it's directly attributable to the employee pricing that they've come up with, and I still believe in my heart of hearts this is Ford's attempt to get as close to non-negotiated pricing as possible to speed up the sales process. If the bulk of their dealers are participating in employee pricing, then it just means the entire process for buying a Ford is much simpler than it would be at most other dealerships. You find the vehicle you like, you go inside, they pull the invoice to that vehicle. Printed on the invoice is what Ford's employee pricing is. You add tax, title, license, and, doc fee, and you're done. And that doesn't take 5 or 6 or 7 hours of negotiating. It's done. And so I think people are responding positively to having that type of shopping experience as opposed to the normal shopping experience of going in and doing battle for days on end.
I'm pulling it up on the screen. We have a great guide that explains what Ford employee pricing is back on CarEdge.com. Just Google search Ford employee pricing CarEdge, and it'll pop right up. And It was supposed to end on June 2nd. So I'll do a
Yes.
little bit of research while we're on live here to see if they've extended that, because the program was supposed to end. And we've obviously talked to Ford dealers in the past about this as well. And they're super excited about the impact that this would have on their business. And to your point, Dad,
Yes.
maybe a little bit of a trialing ground for a future maybe negotiation free model or employee pricing model in general. I will come back over here, however, to the overall sales data from the month of May. And you will see another winner here in double digits is Toyota. Toyota's sales up nearly 11%. And for the Toyota brand itself, up 12.3%. When you factor in Lexus, it only grew 2.4%. So Toyota had a really big month, Dad. And I know from having conversations with some Toyota dealers in pockets of this country, there is a little bit more inventory.
Yes.
So it seems like Toyota is moving back in the direction of trying to get their dealers some cars because they're growing their sales again. Growing their sales 12% is significant, is obviously a massive growth, especially when we start to look at some of those manufacturers who saw their sales go down. Toyota, again, sales skyrocketing for them last month.
Well, sales skyrocketing for Toyota it's all based on deliveries in the sense of how many cars can Toyota get to their dealers. And if they can get a larger supply of cars to their dealers in any given month, then their sales volume is going to go up, because most of their vehicles, other than some of their trucks, most of their vehicles are pre-sold prior to ever getting to the dealership. So dealers just want to get their hands on all that inventory that already has deposits, that already have deals on them, so that the car comes in, sits for 24, 48, 72 hours, boom, out the door. So the quicker Toyota can get the cars to their dealers, the quicker the dealers turn them, and it appears as if that their sales have jumped. It's all based on production for Toyota, because everything is pre-sold.
That's small caveat on everything for all the things you said that aren't pre-sold. So again, there are some that aren't, especially the trucks. But the difference here between Ford sales growth and Toyota sales growth is really striking, in the sense that Toyota's is all about, can they produce more vehicles and get them delivered to dealers, to your point. And the Ford sales growth is they've had all these cars sitting around and they figured out a way to convince consumers to go purchase them. One was more effective marketing, better deals. The other was we could actually produce more cars. That's fascinating to realize that these are the two OEMs that saw the biggest sales growth. I'm leaving Volvo out of this because Volvo is such small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. So these are the two automakers who saw the biggest sales growth for totally different reasons, entirely different reasons.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Toyota has done a masterful job of keeping the gross profits up for their dealers, their dealer partners, because they perfected on-time vehicle, just-in-time vehicle production, and they have carried that through to just-in-time vehicle delivery to their dealers. They have artificially kept inventory levels low to create this surplus of demand. And now that they're able to actually build the vehicles and get them to the dealers in time, the dealers are making all the money, because they're not necessarily discounting these vehicles as much as Ford has had to discount the Fords.
Yep. I want to put you on the spot, though. I want to put you on the spot.
Yes.
We're actually going to go early to our deal of the day. It's a Toyota, Dad. I'm going to put you and I'm going to put our community here on the spot. 2025 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid.
Yes.
What do you think the dealer discount is on a $33,500 2025 Toyota Corolla Cross? This is the deal of the day, so it's going to be good. What do you think?
$2,000.
You think a $2,000 discount? So on a $35,000 car, what would that be, like 7.5%, something like that?
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any guesses? Mark saying $3,000. 10% discount would be incredible if you could get that. It's not quite that good. I'll pull it up here on the screen. $3,500. Oh man, I was feeling good about what I was going to share, but maybe the expectations are a little higher. You've got a $1,581 discount off of MSRP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's on a Toyota Corolla Cross. So, there are still deals to be had on Toyotas. It's just a challenge, very much a challenge. This was obviously one of the ones done by our team, the concierge team back at CarEdge.com. But you can see here there are deals to be had on these vehicles, even some of the more in-demand ones.
And I am sure that took a lot of work.
Yep.
Okay, in order to do that. And I don't want to take away from what the team was able to do there. That is a pretty masterful job. That's what, about a 5% discount on vehicles that are in short supply and are hard to get. That's pretty damn good, because most Toyota dealers, I would think, would want to stick very close to MSRP on those type of vehicles, and the vehicles that they would be willing to discount are some of their pickup trucks that just aren't selling in the numbers that they used to. So it is an entirely polar opposite of what Ford has done. Ford has stripped out all the profit altogether from their dealers and said, okay, well, whatever profits you're going to make, you're making from us. And Toyota has figured out, hey, whatever profits you're going to make, you're making on your own. And we're going to help you get there, because we're going to artificially keep the inventory lower than it would normally have been.
Now, one thing we're going to do here at CarEdge Live is protect you from data brokers, folks. There are data brokers out there, and they're selling your information online, and anyone can buy it. Things like your phone number, social security number, and your
address.
Let's go, Dad. Nicely done. Are available online, and they're available to marketers, scammers, and
everyone in between, whoever they may be.
And DeleteMe, the sponsor of today's program, helps you take control over your data. DeleteMe removes your personal information from hundreds of data brokers on your behalf. And you can get started today with a 20% off coupon. Just use the code CarEdge at checkout, or go to joindeleteme.com/CarEdge. The link is in the top of the description. You can see my personal DeleteMe account here. Every single month, they are reviewing thousands of listings and removing my information from all sorts of different places all over the interwebs. We thank DeleteMe for their continued support. We thank everyone in our community who takes the time to click on those links. That helps keep our sponsorships coming in and our business staying afloat. Talking about staying afloat, Dad.
Yes.
There were some automakers who, I don't know, if they keep performing the way they performed last month, they might not stay afloat in perpetuity. Let's come back to our handy dandy chart here. I was surprised by this, Dad. Mazda sales fell down 18.6%. Subaru sales down 10.4% for the month of May. What happened over at Mazda and Subaru to see such significant declines in sales for those brands?
I don't know. And we know that Subaru is a relatively short day supply of vehicles on hand.
Yep.
And that Mazda is at the opposite end of that spectrum at the moment, where they have one of the highest day supplies of vehicles on hand in the industry. What would suddenly cause the Mazda to plummet by 18% when they had been showing growth of 18 to 20% a month? I don't know. Was it the wrong inventory mix? Do they have too many CX90s, CX70s in inventory, as opposed to the CX30s and CX50s and the CX5s? Is it the fact that there's a new CX5 that's supposed to be coming out and people are holding off? I don't know, but that's a pretty significant decline. One would have to check and see what their incentives were like for the month of May. Maybe they cut back on their incentives. We had heard, in order to preserve cash, that they were thinking of cutting back on incentives to a degree. And Subaru, that one's shocking, because they don't, although we stopped at the local Subaru store here in the Atlantic City area, and they had the proverbial poop ton of cars on their lot. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about two brands that historically provide good value for money.
We've been telling people to go Mazda and Subaru for years.
Yes, because they're reasonably priced, good bang for the buck, very good quality vehicles with a limited number of issues. So it is somewhat surprising, and Subaru's decline that snapped a 33 month in a row streak where they had shown as month over month, year over year sales
Year-over-year growth for the month. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I really don't.
I wonder to a degree, Dad, though, if that's kind of the overarching theme here is we're seeing two brands that have been growing steadily, and these declines are non-trivial. To decline 18.6% and 10%, we're double-digit declines from two brands that have been growing steadily. And the brands that were growing in this most recent month, obviously Toyota, they're kind of an outlier here. Ford had to pull a pretty big and effective marketing stint to make theirs happen. It is interesting to see Kia growth still going up, Hyundai growth still going up. So those brands may be offering more significant incentives. I do wonder, though, if what we're seeing with Mazda and Subaru is kind of the beginning of the more broad trend that we expect to see, which is a slowdown in the auto industry as we see tariff price increases come to the forefront here in the coming weeks and months. So I'll be watching this really, really closely. And you said something, Dad, around incentives. Unfortunately,
Yes.
I don't have last month's incentives queued up, but I do have the 10 best incentives set so far for June of this year. And it's interesting, man. We already know what some of the 4th of July promos are going to be because a lot of these incentive programs are all the way through July 7th.
Yes.
Which is fascinating to think about. It's June 4th, and we know what the new car deals are going to be on July 7th.
Yes. Well, that's because I'm guessing that July 4th falls on a Friday or a Saturday.
Gotta extend it, baby.
Well, yeah. So they'll run it through Monday. So my guess, I haven't looked at the calendar, but my guess is July 4th is Friday, and so they'll include that entire weekend, and yes, so they'll keep these incentives in play until July 7th.
Going to come to the chat here for a couple minutes, then we'll talk about those new car incentives so you have a sense for what is out there for the month of June. We'll open up the phone lines as well, and we'll take some calls. And then, Dad, I've got something fun to share with you at the end of today's show from iLollipop. What about add-ons when there's employee pricing? So let's break this down because Pat B is also saying, Pops, does employee pricing negate the out-the-door price method? From what you're saying, that seems the case. Can you help demystify what is important here with add-ons, employee pricing, out the door, the whole mix?
Well, obviously dealers can pre-install dealer accessories on vehicles. And if some of those vehicles have dealer installed accessories, you would get the price of the vehicle as prescribed by Ford prior to those accessories. So it would be the employee price plus the dealer installed accessories. Now, that's not to say that dealers don't inflate the retail value of the accessories that they put on their cars. They do. So those can become negotiable to a degree. And so, that would deviate from Ford's idea of trying to make it as easy as possible and take us right back to that selling system that most people are familiar with, which is, we're going to war.
I want to just simplify this, though, Pops. I appreciate your answer. However, I just want to make this really simple for everyone. Just because there's employee pricing doesn't mean you change your ask to the dealership. You're asking for an out-the-door price quote. The reason you're asking for an out-the-door price quote is because there's a selling price. In this model that Ford has deployed, that selling price will be the same selling price for anyone who walks in for a participating dealer. It'll be whatever the employee price was. All of the line items below that on the out-the-door worksheet can and potentially will be variable. Those are things like doc fees, processing fees, electronic filing fees, added-on products, which is what you were describing a moment ago. And so I just want a really simple and clear answer to our community, which is you always ask for the out-the-door price. You do not deviate from that. And if it's taxable, it's negotiable. If there are added-on products, added-on fees, you negotiate that. So sorry to come over the top of you, Pops, but I just want to be crystal clear with everyone.
Well, you know me. I talk in vagaries, and you talk in specifics.
That's why we're a good team. If you have more questions about employee pricing or OTD or anything like that, ask us in the chat, and we'll make sure we pull those up. We've got here from Bob. I took my 2018 in for service on Monday, and the dealer sent me an offer to buy it today. This is such a common practice from dealerships to try and source used car inventory. And it's partly, it's a great tactic. If someone comes in, they're doing service, and you say, hey, we're short on cars. We want to buy them. This is why I encourage every single person here in the chat, in our community, go to CarEdge.com, click on What's My Car Worth, make sure you're tracking your vehicle value every single month. And we have a really good and exciting enhancement coming to What's My Car Worth in the month of June. So stay tuned for that. But please make sure you're tracking your vehicle value because, yeah, you take it in for service. Next thing you know, the dealer's saying, we want to buy that. You need to have a basis for what it's worth.
May I suggest that the best place for a dealership to buy cars is in their service lane, as opposed to the auction. Okay. Typically they have a service history on those cars. So you would be foolish not to approach those customers and see if they might have an interest in either selling it outright or considering trading it in for something newer. And it would make sense to step up for that type of vehicle, because you're still going to buy it well below what you would pay for it at the auction. And it helps you retain your customer base. So the most prolific place for dealerships to find their used cars is right in their service drive every day. Every day.
And
I
what
mean, think about it.
Do you agree with my point, Dad, though, to keep track of your vehicle
Oh,
value?
absolutely. You
Okay.
need to listen. I'm not going to sit here and suggest to anybody that they're not going to lowball you or try to lowball you.
Kind of just were, so I want to make sure that's clear too.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you always need to protect your interests as the consumer. The dealer's trying to protect their interests as a dealer. Never forget that a dealership wants to buy their inventory as inexpensively as they possibly can. So will they give you a fair value, the first offer for your trade? Yeah, in many cases they will. Is it less than what they ultimately might go up to in order to actually get their hands on it? More than likely. Is it less than what you might think the value of it is? I can guarantee that. But yeah, you do need to know what the market value is. And when I say market value, I'm not talking retail. I am talking wholesale market value for your vehicle.
Let's just make it super simple, Dad. Just use the damn website.
May I suggest that you just use the damn CarEdge website?
There we go, folks.
Put your car in the garage. It'll automatically keep track of that value for you, and check it occasionally. And be sure to check it before you go in for service.
We got there, baby. We got to where I wanted to be on that one. Appreciate you, Dad.
I wish you'd give me notes up front.
Well, I think if it's like logical, I expect you to get there. So
sorry I don't often live up to your expectations.
Hey, did you see the comment I pulled up from Justice, though? Because I do think it actually
I did not. I was too busy rambling.
People get so excited when they get the email, we want your car, and don't realize it's just a mass market email and they're not going to give you a great deal. So I think that's kind of the point I was just trying to hit home. The fact that we have a service to be clear, it's free. The fact that we have a free service to help you keep track of your vehicle value and have leverage there, that's just me trying to stand up for the consumer. But this is at its core what you were describing, which is all the inventory they ever need to source is right in their service lane. And it's a great tactic for dealers to use. And it's a great thing for consumers to be aware of.
If the service department's writing 100 repair orders a day, there's 100 potential used cars.
Look at this comment, Dad, from Maddie. Sounds like my mom goes in for an oil change, comes home in a new car. Yeah, I mean, this happens more often than you think.
I will share with you a story from my early days in the business. Admiral Nissan, Route 9 in the Black Horse Pike in Pleasantville, New Jersey, when it was located there. And a dear friend of mine, Bobby Cohen, he was a dealer, a floor person at one of the casinos. Bobby bought a Z car from me, came in one day. He needed tires for the Z car. I sold him a brand new car because, it had 4 new tires on it anyway. So, yeah, he came in for tires, went out with a new car. The best place for a dealership to source its inventory is in their service. It just is. It's in their service drive. And you have, as a consumer, some control over that because they really would like to get their hands on your car. It's just how much are they willing to pay?
Yeah, it is reminding me though a little bit of the conversation we were having yesterday because remember Adrian, who we are trying to help out with her lease deal, she went in thinking she was going to finance the purchase of a vehicle and ended up getting on a lease. It's like if you do move quickly on a deal,
yes,
make sure you're moving slow enough to know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah,
That's the recurring theme.
And may I say, probably part of the confusion for Adrian was
From yesterday.
from yesterday was the fact that it's all done electronic signatures. So ultimately, you get printed out copies of what you signed. But when you're doing it electronically, most people don't read it, especially when the finance person is going, yeah, we just need your it's right there, that and there.
Well,
And
I think that there's a little bit of like the signatures were an issue in yesterday's story, and let's not relitigate this too much. There was also I came in wanting to finance and I got flipped to a lease. That's the point I'm more making. When you're in the service drive and you get excited about buying a new car, get excited. That's fine. You're still going to make sure that you sell your car for the most money possible, and you're still going to make sure that if you're going to finance the car, you're going to finance it, not lease it. Or if you're going to lease it, you know how to negotiate a lease.
And if it's done electronically, you're going to slow the process down so you can read what it is that they're asking you to approve or sign.
Here we go, Dad. Mike wants to know. Come on, guys. Are sales up or down for the month of May so far? For the month of May so far, we've got 7 reporting automakers. Sales are up almost 8% year over year.
They expect when all the numbers come in that the sales increase year over year, May over May, will be somewhere between 1.2 and perhaps 3.4%. That is well below the month over month gains that were posted in March and April.
Mm-hmm.
This is still an example of people having been pulled ahead in their buying decisions for fear of price increases. And we know that many of the manufacturers have already stated come June 3rd, they're raising prices. So
sorry for cutting you off, Dad. My apologies.
No, that's okay. So we can see that the sales are slightly up. They're cooling. And the expectation from many of the pundits within the industry that do this for a living is that, and even the heads of these major manufacturers are saying the second half of the year is going to be much slower for new car sales than the first half of the year was.
That is certainly the expectation.
Yes.
Dad, let's come back here to the chat. We'll open up the phone lines in a moment. From Jay, I'm looking at a 2026 RAV4 hybrid when available. I have no idea of what to expect for a good deal. I'll let you answer that one. Should be
well, my guess, if it's a 2026 RAV4 hybrid, and I believe the 2026 will be the new and improved RAV4 hybrid. I think if you can get it for MSRP, you will have done a very good job. My supposition is that many dealers will be adding either a market adjustment or dealer installed accessories to build even more profit into it.
MSRP, that's going to be where you want to be. From Amy, I asked the salesperson for an extra $1,000 off the out the door price, but instead of taking it off the new vehicle, they said they would take it off of the trade. Why does that matter? Let's break this one down a little bit, Dad.
So if I understand what you're saying, they were giving you an extra $1,000 for the trade. There's a difference between a trade ACV. A stands for actual, C stands for cash, V stands for value. There's a difference between the actual cash value and the trade allowance. The actual cash value might be $10,000. The trade allowance they offer you could be $9,000. Yeah, well, we'll give you $1,000 more for your trade. They haven't taken anything off the car. They're negotiating with your money. So just realize that trade allowances and trade ACVs are two different things. But if you're what you want to do is treat these as two separate transactions. First, negotiate the out the door price of the new car. Once you've agreed to that, then you want to negotiate the sale of your car to the dealership as a trade-in, and then that will impact the ultimate out the door price once you've subtracted the trade value and if that trade brings a tax basis benefit.
Well said, Pops. That was straight and punchy.
Well,
into
I was trying to improve
No, you did awesome. That was awesome.
my verbiage there.
Guys, please, guys and gals, we have, this is, I mean, yeah, it was updated on June 3rd, but this guide, I think I wrote the original one in 2019. I mean, it's been out there forever and we update it often, but this is the guide. This is 100% the guide to review. It is our trade-in tactics for success. And Dad, we're going to do it. We're going to do a live experiment here. We're going to see what happens. We're going to ChatGPT. Can you please give me the car trade-in tactics for success from CarEdge? Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Let's see. Okay. All right. Know your car's value, multiple offers, separate trade-in from the purchase. There we go. Okay, guys, all you got to do is just put CarEdge in any of your searches, whether it's using these AI tools or if we're using the normal Google machine. All right. Let me share this over here. Trade-in tactics for success, CarEdge. Please, please, please use these resources. They exist. They're there to help you.
I think they're free, aren't they?
Yeah, of course they're free. Justice. Oh man, these don't go well for us. Hey man, I took a risk and it worked.
Yeah.
Let's keep going here, Pops. I think we will open the phone lines, but we should talk about June deals, and we're cruising at the moment. So we may or may not open the phone lines. Stay tuned. We've got from GB12. I will definitely avail the CarEdge concierge. Please help me get a great deal on a new 2020 or a new Toyota Grand Highlander with a trade-in. Thank you. Absolutely, y'all. This is what we do day in and day out. CarEdge.com. We've got car buying and negotiation services to help you out. Please go check that out. CarEdge.com. And from Finance Reacts, finally pulled the trigger on a 4Runner this weekend. Went Saturday and got a steal last day of the month. There is some real efficacy to doing things at the end of the month, isn't there?
Yes. There always has been. There's sales goals that they're trying to hit. That, you know, and even if they've gone past their sales goal, there's records you're always trying to break for whatever reason, and dealers get as caught up in all the activity and the action, so that, you know, oftentimes a sales manager will just go, yeah, just pull the trigger on the damn, just make the deal. We'll figure it all out later. And so, yes, at the end of a month, the end of June will be a good time to buy a car because it's also the end of a quarter. So, yes, it happens, ladies and gentlemen, it happens. Dealers don't treat the first day of the month quite as well as they treat the last day of the month.
Yeah, 100%.
Just saying. Yeah.
Dad, I also got some confirmation while we've been on here live. Ford and Stellantis have both extended their employee pricing promotions through the month of June into July. And it's worth mentioning, earlier in the show, Space, who's one of the most incredible champions of the CarEdge community, was talking about how Ford employee pricing is actually worse in many ways than the pricing you could get pre-employee pricing in terms of negotiating out the door price. To be clear, it's a huge benefit to those who don't want to negotiate. You no longer have to worry about what's the selling price of the vehicle. You do still have to worry about the out the door price we talked about earlier. But it is important to note they are continuing those programs. We'll update our blog and our guide talking about Ford employee pricing and Stellantis employee pricing. They're extending that through the month of June because it's been so effective.
I am telling you, in my heart of hearts, I believe one of the reasons that Ford is doing what they're doing is to just simplify the process for their customers. I would guarantee you that when you look at the customer satisfaction index scores for deals that were completed in March, April, and May utilizing employee pricing, that the customer satisfaction indexes will be higher in those months than in the previous months where there was no employee pricing and everybody had to go in and negotiate the old-fashioned way. So I think ultimately Ford is trying to increase customer satisfaction with the buying process, and offering employee pricing does that. And I think customers just prefer that there's a greater ease of doing business, whether or not it equates to the best possible deal is secondary to them. It's the ease of doing business, which is why CarMax has been so successful and Carvana has been so successful.
And to be clear here, we do know if you're getting a better or worse deal. You can see here from space on vehicles like the Ford Maverick A plan, which is employee pricing, is good. On the other vehicles, negotiate your deal. So to be clear, we know. But to your point, Dad, ease of use and the amount of time it takes, that's a huge, huge, huge component of all that frustration. And again, I see some more people saying, wait, what the heck? Car sales are up? Yeah. Ford sales skyrocketed 16% year over year. And you've got to think in large part what they did with employee pricing. Obviously, what we talked about with Toyota earlier, slightly different story. Let's go through some of these deals that are in place for new vehicles here for the month of June and get your read on them, Pops. How's that sound?
Okay.
All right, let's go down through the list. Thank you, Justin. By the way, if you are not, all you need is a free CarEdge account and you'll get our weekly newsletter. All right. And this is, the lead story of our weekly newsletter is going to be this one here. So we've got 2025 Nissan Rogue, Dad, 0% financing for 16 months plus $1,750 in bonus cash from the manufacturer. And there's a lease program all the way at $299 a month for 39 months with $4,000 due at signing. There you go. There's also 0% financing, in addition to the 0% financing, there's a 1.9% offer for 72 months from Nissan on the 25 Rogue. That's a pretty hefty incentive.
Yeah, they're stepping up. I mean, think about it. If they're giving you 0% and $1,750 in bonus cash, they're stepping up in an effort to create a bigger market and a bigger audience for their best-selling vehicle that doesn't sell well enough. So
let's go to the Pathfinder here. Nissan also has incentives, 0% financing for 60 months plus $1,000 bonus cash on the Pathfinder, or 1.9% for 72 months. The Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid, man, this car is not selling 0% for 72 months.
Yes.
The average new car interest rate is over 9%. All right. So there you go. And you can get 0% for 72 months.
I believe according to the automotive news article in regards to sales last month, that the average new car interest rate was 6.93%.
If you look there, but if you look at Cox, they have it over 9. But either way, it's somewhere between 7 and 9.
Yeah. So at 0%, you're saving 7% minimum.
Yeah, that adds up to a lot. Let's keep going here. We've got 24 Chevy Tahoes. On the 24 Chevy Tahoes, you've got 0% financing for 60 months. The Buick Encore GX.
And if you go back up, the average selling price was $73,000, ladies and gentlemen, and then add another 10%. So you're up to $80,000 out the door. Divide that by 60 months with no interest, and you're paying what? $1,200 a month, $1,300 a month, whatever it is. It's a BAP, a big ass payment, but there's no interest on that BAP.
The Buick Encore GX, Stad, there's a 0 down lease deal, has you at $297 a month.
That's pretty cheap, ladies and gentlemen.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
The 2025 Tesla Model 3, we've got 0% financing for up to 60 months, or a 0 down lease option for 24 months at $349 a month.
And
the
that's pretty cheap.
Yep, the 2025 Ram 1500, 1.9% financing for 72 months. So aggressive financing offers here. from Stellantis on the Ram 1500. The 4xe Jeep Grand Cherokee 2025, 1.9% financing for 72 months. Don't mind the CarEdge value rating of an F. Just ignore that. The 2025 Honda Accord has 2.99% financing for 60 months.
That's a hell of a deal for what is one of America's most popular vehicles.
That's aggressive from Honda to keep the sales going. Yeah, that's great. 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500. You've got a $6,500 cash back with a trade-in or lease return, or you can lease, for $429 a month with $3,369 due at signing. Those are the deals we've got so far. I'm saying the Honda Accord is the one that I'm most surprised by and would take advantage of if I was a shopper in the market today.
And did you notice that we have no information at this point on those type of incentives for Mazda, which Mazda used aggressively in the past?
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Yes. Yeah.
Dad, I want to come here. We've had a really thoughtful question come in, and I want to get your input on it. Yes. Greg says, Ray, from your many decades of management and sales, what year or years were the most challenging for you and your team? We'll do a little story time here for a moment.
There are two times that I can recall. Back in the early 80s, when interest rates for car loans were 16, 17, 18%. Yes, cars were a lot cheaper then. People were making a lot less money then. But at 16, 17, 18% interest on a car loan, it was just, we didn't know what we were going to do or who we were going to sell cars to. And then the last time was during the Great Recession. And it was just, you could just see the customers evaporate in real time. The amount of traffic that came into the store was way down. The number of sales was way down. When I was at Acura North Scottsdale, the year before the Great Recession, we averaged, I think it was 108 new cars a month and 50 used cars a month. When I got let go during the height of the Great Recession, we were down to averaging like 50 new cars a month. And a couple months later, they hit their lowest point. I think it was in August of 2008. I think they sold 15 or 18 new cars. So, you were watching your business decline, not 1, 2, or 3% at a time, but 10, 20, 30, 40%. Ultimately, the business dropped by like 85%. So those were some pretty tough times, challenging times for a dealership and the dealership staff, because at the stores I worked at, we had a lot of salespeople that stayed for a very long time. I mean, there were, the ones at the bottom, you always churned through the people that were at the bottom of the sales chart. But the bulk of the sales staff was there for years. And, what do you do for your sales staff when there's no one coming in? There's no one for them to sell a car to. And dealerships are very cash intensive. So it's the dealership needs a cash flow, and it's not like you can just be handing money out to your sales staff to keep them there. It was very, very challenging times.
Yeah. Sounds it, Dad. Another time that I see a few people bringing up cash for clunkers. Do you remember that experience as well?
That was, cash for clunkers was, I remember I was at Tisher, Acura, and Nissan for that. And, on the Acura side of things, we didn't have a lot of cars that qualified for cash for clunkers for people to buy. But on the Nissan side of things, we had lots. And I remember being there until 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, closing deals during cash for clunkers, and getting home at 2 o'clock in the morning and having to be back there at 8:30 again the next morning. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. I don't know how I stayed in the businesses. I mean, it is the most obnoxious business to work in for any number of reasons, but the time suck of the job, it was the absolute worst. Absolute worst.
Which job do you prefer, that job or your job today?
My job today, my job today typically allows for a nap late in the afternoon, so that I'm very refreshed and able to stay up till like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning watching TV. So I couldn't do that way back when.
Pops, let's again remind everyone the story from yesterday, and the one that we continue to need your sharing of, is the story of Adrian. If you are over on X, I am at Chefska. I posted a multi-thread tweet. I don't know what the hell to call this, guys, but it's a good way to capture the story here. This CarEdge community member got taken advantage of by a dealership in Scottsdale, Arizona. Please go share this on social media or directly back, on CarEdge.com. $8,000 in added-on products on a lease on a $36,000 car. Just a really bad case of what happened here. And we have all sorts of resources that can help you not make those mistakes. Like, really proud of this lease breakdown that we have. You did, Mario, Space in our community has helped. So please, y'all, share these resources, read the full story as well, and just promote this. Let's continue to put pressure. I know the dealership is aware of the videos we've made, so hopefully they'll take some action. And again, I just found it incredibly ironic that this dealership's most recent podcast episode from 3 days ago, the day that she reached out to us, was how to know, a little bit of a spelling error here, grammar error, you are screwed at a car dealership. I don't know, guys.
Well, it's car spelling. That's automobile salesperson.
Read the story of what happened to Adrian, and I think you'll know. And Igor, I appreciate your perspective here. I think it's a bad idea to spread the name of the dealership. I don't. I think it's a great idea. We'll know in, like, I don't know, a couple weeks. I think it's a great idea.
I think it is.
I hope they come on the show. I hope they rectify this, and I hope they come on the show. There's I want to be clear. There's an open invitation to Mark Kia to join us, the group that did this. There's an open invitation to their leadership, to anyone on their team, to join us here on the show, talk about what happened, share how they do business, how they want to treat the community. This is a fair platform. We'd love to hear their side, and we'd love to also, put some money back in Adrian's pockets.
I think for them, this is the perfect opportunity for them to be magnanimous and say, "Oh my goodness, we're not sure how this happened, but we're so disappointed that it did, and we would like to rectify the situation and make things right. And we'd like to get her back in here so we can restructure everything." And we'll talk about that for as long as we talked about what went on initially. So it's an opportunity that they can seize to do the right thing, be magnanimous, take the high road, and paint themselves in a better light than what they've been painted in so far.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take the opposite approach. I haven't received any strongly worded letters yet, but I'm very excited to continue to bring awareness to this. It's the right thing to do. It feels good in my heart. It feels like an opportunity for their business. So hopefully they jump on that. Love when opportunities come up. Dad.
Yes.
I want to share. I was on a podcast recently. Been doing a couple more of these. This was recently posted over on LinkedIn. It's on YouTube as well. And really cool. Unfortunately, they asked me some questions about YouTube strategy.
Yeah.
Look at this. Make the content real, helpful. Don't stress about production quality. Just ship it. Don't over edit it. And clickbait works even when it makes you cringe. Those were, I hate it, but those are the realities. And folks, for those of you that are interested in the professional side of what we do here at CarEdge, you're more than welcome to follow over on LinkedIn. You can see all the updates here, or I do some updates back on my personal website, Chefska, SHEFSKA.com, under writing here. So you can check that out as well. But yeah, I did that podcast. I'll have to share the link with you so you can, if you're up for it, take a listen. It was pretty cool.
Absolutely. I would love to. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I have a phone call scheduled today at 2:00 with Chip.
Oh, nice.
To try and get Chip on board to be able to provide us with some additional weekly auction updates. So we will see how we can put that together once I speak to Chip later today.
And I want to pull up one more thing because I absolutely adore and appreciate Igor. He's an incredibly successful businessman. He sold his 30 plus dealerships,
40,
has made
40 plus.
dealerships. Okay, so I have the utmost respect for him. At your risk and the risk of CarEdge as a company, this dealership can easily sue and they will win big. Last time I checked, Igor, respectfully, you can sue anyone for anything at any time. If these people want to sue us, great. You know what we're going to do? We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the fact that a dealership sued CarEdge while trying to defend this person that had a terrible experience. Can't wait to make some videos about that. It's America, man. You can sue everyone for everything at any time. Been there, done that. 5 years ago, I'd be, shaking in my boots. I was so nervous when any legal thing would come on. Nowadays, I get it, man. All it takes is some money. As long as you got some money in a bank account, you can fight all this legal stuff. As long as you want, you can drag it out. We serve the consumer. To be clear, we love working with good dealers. We have good dealers on this show and on this program often. I'm in touch with like dozens of good dealers to go do on-site content filming and things. Like, we serve y'all. We work with great dealers. We want their businesses to succeed. We want all dealerships' businesses to succeed if they operate in a way that is in alignment with our values, which are transparency, fairness, and efficiency. So, yeah, Japan did do really good things for me. I came back. I'm on fire. I'm ready to go. We're not going anywhere.
I'm not. Except I'll be laying out in the balcony a little later today. But yeah. I did. Your brother-in-law and your sister shared a picture of your niece, stretched out, laying, napping, and I said that's the exact same position I found myself in yesterday afternoon on the balcony, and I hope to find myself in that same position again today.
Go enjoy it, Dad. I think it's a beautiful day out there. Thank you, everyone, for all that you do. And really, really, really appreciate. Hey, thank you, Igor. I'm not afraid of lawsuits. Been there, done that. Used to be afraid of them. Anyway, folks, we're here to help. We're doing the best we can. Dad, I love you very much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. We've got already queued up for tomorrow one of the most insane dealership phone calls I have ever heard. All right. So that you've got to tune in tomorrow. We will be playing that live at the beginning of the show, getting my dad's reaction. One of the most insane dealership phone calls. Did I share this with you?
No.
The short answer is no. So live, join live tomorrow. My dad's going to react. It's 5 minutes. It is the silliest thing you've ever heard.
And I don't want to hear it until I hear it for the first time tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah. And hey, David's bringing up a good point. The customer is just as responsible as well. She signed papers. Yes.
Yeah, nobody's disputing that.
Yep.
And I believe yesterday we said that the customer has an equal responsibility here to protect their interests, and there's no excuse for people not having the information readily available before they go in. I get that, but when dealerships, I am sure that Mark Kia didn't do anything illegal. Okay, might have been unscrupulous, not ethical. We don't know. We don't know the entire conversations that were had.
But I want to reinforce that we're not trying to suggest that this dealership has done anything illegal. We're not trying to suggest Kia's done anything illegal. We're not lawyers.
Yeah.
All we are saying is that we see something that happened here that is in misalignment with values that we hope all businesses in the United States have, which is preying upon people who don't have information. And to your point that you discussed yesterday, most likely, unscrupulous. That's the word, unscrupulous. Yeah. And to your point, Dad, yesterday, they probably just talked about monthly payment. And that is, to be very clear, why we've done what we've done for the past 5 years, which is educate millions of people to know not to talk about monthly payments. The responsibilities on both sides here. We're not trying to play, a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination. We're just trying to bring to light something that happened, and by bringing light to it, hopefully help this individual out and bring awareness to how maybe a dealership group operates.
That's all. Yeah, that's it.
We're back tomorrow, folks. Go enjoy your nap, Dad.
Well, I have a phone call in an hour, and then after the phone call, my ass will be in that zero gravity chair. My eyes will be closed. The earbuds will be in the appropriate ears, and we'll be listening to something or another as I snooze.
We'll be back tomorrow, folks. I love you, Dad.
Yep, love you too. Thank you, everybody, for being here.